All right, hey guys, Jason here. We're up here. We're at J.C. Lewis Ford, the one here in Statesboro that I'm at all the time. And today we're going to talk about Ford trucks and the quality of them. I don't talk much about the F-150s too much, and there's reason for that, but we're going to dive into how good they are or they're not. We're going to look at that. We got a bunch of them here. You can see we got rows. Actually, wow, look at that. We got a hood up on that one right there still on a new one there. They probably didn't close it all the way, but we got rows and rows of F-150s here. We got Tina's amazing ZR2 Colorado. We got rows of F-150s here. And if we break through and cut through to this side, we got more rows of F-150s. And there's no shortage of F-150s. Unfortunately, though, this here, we're not seeing anything. I'm not seeing any Raptors. I'm not seeing any Tremors. I'm not seeing anything like that. They're just all XLTs and Lariats and STXs and things like that. But it is definitely nice to see a variety of color. Notice that we got different colors here mixed into here. Some blues, some reds, some tans, some silvers, you know, so it's nice to see that. But when we dive into this and think about it, Ford offers in their F-150 series, the reason I don't cover it a whole lot is it's I've owned 9 of these things, and they're all amazing trucks, but they're the same. This is no different than a 2016, a 2017, a 2018, a 2020. I know they're different, but they're so similar. There's so little changes in them that they're not that big of a. They're not a huge talking point. There's just not that much happening in the world of Ford. However, that doesn't mean that Fords are not great trucks. These F-150s are rock solid. They are a proven design. They are great systems, and they do a fantastic job. I love their trucks. There's no doubt about it. I do get pretty mad at Ford with their quality control stuff and the way that things have been. It would be nice if that got improved a little bit. And they've made some changes, and they make these changes without telling people. We know that the 5-liter has been through, I think it's on its 4th generation, and it's been through some, now it's got the active fuel management stuff and the wet belt stuff, and we know that. But we'll dive into the motors in a minute. We'll take a look at that. But the trucks themselves are very fantastic trucks. They play games with their packaging that upsets me, like on their Tremor series, which I do not see one here. Wish I did. Maybe we'll wander around a lot and take a look and see if there's any up front somewhere. But like on their Tremor, how you have to go with all these crazy packages just to get the Torsen front end in that thing, and it's a Tremor model. So they play these kind of games, how they took the Torsen front axle away from the Raptor and don't even give it to you as an option in the Raptor anymore. So they do these things that are kind of upsetting, but every manufacturer does. Point being, though, that they make a fantastic truck. Now, you're basically going to get 3 different motor options, not counting the electric stuff. You're going to get a 2.7 liter V6 turbo. You're going to get a 3.5 V6 turbo, or you can have the V8, the 5-liter V8 Coyote naturally aspirated motor. And they're all fantastic. When you look at the forums, or you look at places like that, which I don't follow Ford ones a ton, but I'm on there enough to see what's going on. And then when you watch YouTube videos especially, everybody is, the Coyote's the best one. Got to get the Coyote. The turbos are junk. The turbos are junk. The turbos are not junk. I have owned every single motor from the 5.4 Triton to the 2.7, 2 of the 2.7s, and one of the 3.5s and one of the Coyotes. And I don't remember what the other ones were both 5.4s before that too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, and like I said, I've owned 9 of them, and I don't even remember what was in my earlier ones. I don't even remember what motor was there. But point being, they're a fantastic truck. Every one of their motors are incredible. The 2.7, when it came out, and I don't remember what it was. Was it 2015, I think it was, when it came out? That 2.7 came out. My neighbor bought one. He lost both of his turbos in like 70,000 miles. Cost him quite a bit of money to get it replaced on there on his. I was still driving a 5.4 at the time. And then I bought one, and I bought the 3.5. Anyways, we're relevant to what we did there and how we went through it. But point being here is that all 3 motors that Ford offers in this amazing truck are amazing motors. If I were buying it today, I would maybe I would be a toss-up between getting the 2.7 and the Coyote. Okay, both of them would be real high on my list. The 3.5 is great too, don't get me wrong. It's a heck of a motor. It's a monster. Straight up monster of a motor, and so butter smooth. I guess I laugh at these people with the naturally aspirated V8 is it's all raw power. If you haven't spent any time towing with a truck, if you've ever towed with a turbo and then towed with a naturally aspirated, you'd be begging for a turbo. Okay, when it comes to power outputs and the way they're done, turbos are fantastic. And given a choice between a 3.5 turbo and a 5 liter, I'd take a naturally aspirated. I'd take that turbo in a heartbeat. However, I do like the V8 aspect, and I like that Ford offers one still, and that's a very nice feature when, you know, out of the 4 companies that are producing full-size trucks today, you know, only Ford and GM are the only 2 that are still offering a V8 engine. Now, Ram might bring that 5.7 Hemi back, and I would love to own one of them too. Again, amazing motors. But the 2.7 that's in these has been rock solid. It has been out for a long time, and it has proven itself to be a very good quality, reliable motor. Peppy enough to do the job, capable enough to do it. I was towing a 7,400-pound camper trailer with mine, and it was working just fine, right at max of what the truck could tow before I got my Ram 2500 Cummins. The thing does an excellent job. There's no doubt about it. The 3.5 is a very good motor as well too. I don't think that the 3.5 has the reliability of the 2.7 and a 5 liter does longer term. And I say that because of what I've seen from experience from people that I know that are friends that own them. And I have a circle of friends that are a lot of Ford guys. They love them. They're diehard Ford, and for good reason. Ford builds a solid truck. Remember, built Ford tough, quality, #1. You know, they do a good job, and they always have. They have struggled lately with the quality control issues. They have struggled with the recall numbers. They have struggled with a lot of these things. They're out of the spotlight now. The spotlight seems to be shining on GM more. 6 months ago, the spotlight was shining on Toyota. 6 months before that, the spotlight was shining on Ford. This is the way the game works. But a F-150 today, with any motor that you can put in it, is a rock solid, reliable truck. There's no doubt about it. You're not going to be able to convince me otherwise under any circumstances. They build them well. Transmissions have had some issues. They're all worked out. Matter of fact, one of my F-150s, I don't remember if it was the 2011 or 2010, one of those ones, but that transmission, one of the first years, I believe they came out with that self-learning BS stuff transmission in there, but with 400 miles on that truck, it locked up in the middle of town, right on the highway, on my wife, and just the wheels locked up completely, screeched right there, and came to a dying halt and had to be towed out of there. Only time I ever had to have a vehicle towed in my life. That happened on that F-150. The trans went out. They've had issues with the transmissions in these things in the past, but they've worked most of those bugs out. The beauty of Ford is it's basically the designs don't change a whole lot. They keep them pretty basic, pretty simple. You can't, it's hard to look at one of these and tell the difference between a 2025 and a 2020. Okay, there's not that much difference in these things, the way they're done and the way they're made. It's not a whole different world here. So they do them well. They make them right, and they stick around with them, and they keep them going, and you end up with fantastic people and driving by Sunday night out here cruising, checking cars out. But like I said, you can't go wrong with an F-150. You really can't. A lot of people on the comments, you know, oh, I'll never buy a turbo motor. This thing's had 2 turbos in it for the last decade, and those turbos, yeah, they had teething issues, but they have proved rock solid, reliable, and absolutely fantastic. And anybody that takes anything away from the Coyote motor, the Ford V8, the 5 liter, there's even songs about that motor in its original form back in the day. Look at Vanilla Ice. Rolling in my 5.0 with the rag top down so my hair could. 5 liter V8 from Ford has been around forever. It is an amazing, amazing motor. Yes, they had to upgrade it with this stupid EPA stuff, which sucks. Yes, they went to a wet belt on their EcoBoost motors, and they went to a wet belt on the 5 liter, and they did this stuff. But it's a 150,000 or 200,000 mile maintenance item, so it's not the end of the world. If you can get 200,000 miles out of a truck today and it's going to make it there, you've done very well. And in a brand new 2025 by any brand, if it'll make it 200,000 miles without significant repair, you have done fantastic. These F-150s will do it. Even a 2.7 will do it. Okay, might need a little bit of money. Coyote's gonna need some money. Okay, the 3.5 is gonna need some money. It's all gonna need some money, but the cost of repairs of other things outweigh the engines today. Okay, wait, see what happens when the AC goes out or a transmission goes out. Okay, most of the time they cost more than what the actual engine does to have these repaired. Or, you know, people, oh, the turbos, when the turbos go out. Yeah, turbos can be expensive, especially when you got like a V6 twin turbo where the turbos are buried down in there and they're hard to get to and they got to pull the cab off. Yeah, that can get to be a costly expense, you know, that sort of thing. But overall, these F-150s, they're about as rock solid as they come. I don't want to use the word boring because they're not boring, but again, when you've owned 9 of them, to me, they're just old hat. They're boring. I don't want another one. There's just nothing here that it offers me, even though they were great, but I own 9 of them. When I say 9 of them, I mean 9 of them in a row every year for 9 straight years. Get rid of one, buy another one. Get rid of one, buy another one. That's what I did for 9 straight years with F-150s. Now, 2 of those were my wife's trucks because we bought them with the intent of her being low mile, me being high mile. She would put low miles on them, I would dump mine and then take hers over and then get her a new vehicle. It never worked out that way all the time, but fantastic truck, fantastic truck. Now, with that said, the Ford F-150 is also, keep in mind I own 9, is the only truck that has let me down 2 times. One time was the transmission that locked up on my wife, and that was over a decade ago. That was 15 years ago, so it's irrelevant today by all means. And the other time was when my 09 F-150 caught on fire in a field in Missouri. It got stuck in some mud while I was trying to dig it out. Apparently there was something heated up the electrical in there, and flames started shooting out of the hood. That truck burned to the ground right there in the middle of that field, just gone. Everything that was in it was there. We were trying to dig the truck out. It wasn't even stuck that bad. It was stuck in a farm field. And but all of a sudden flames started shooting out of the sides of the hood, all out of here. It was just flames coming out of here, flames coming out of this, and they were, you know, 3 feet high coming out of there. We grabbed as much stuff as we could to get out of there before the airbags went off, and hurried up and went and then called the fire department, and they came out and they just sat there and let it burn too. So it burned right to the ground and completely gone. And I got a replacement, you know, then as well too. So amazing truck. Cannot say a bad thing about that F-150. If you're looking at one or you're interested in it, they're an excellent choice. Do not be afraid of the motors. Do not be afraid of the 2.7 either. Okay, like I said, in the forums, people rip on it. Oh, the 2.7 is, I would never buy a 2.7 twin turbo. I don't know what they're talking about because, like I said, I've owned a couple of them. They've been absolutely flawless. And I could right now probably name 25 people in my circle that own a 2.7 F-150. Some of those guys putting 140, 180,000 miles on them, and they have 0 issues, and they are running just fine. So, like I said, great truck. Old hat, simple, same as it's been for a long time. Nothing fancy. Boring interiors, boring exteriors, good looking, but simple and boring. But a beautiful truck nonetheless, and a fantastic buy. So there you go. Any questions, comments, put them down below.